Welcome to AVI. Today we're going to be talking about MIGO Opportunities Trust. Thank you for joining us. With me today are Tom Treanor and Charlotte Cuthbertson, who are going to be talking about the announcement that we've made today. Tom, Charlotte, welcome. Could you please give us a brief introduction on your background for our audience?
I'm Tom Treanor. I've been at AVI for 14 years now. Work here as Head of Research and Closed-end Fund Specialist, and looking forward very much to working with Charlotte.
I'm Charlotte Cuthbertson. I've been at AVI for the past 2 years, but I've been working on MIGO Opportunities Trust for the past 8 years with Nick Greenwood, and I'm also delighted that Tom will be joining the team.
Could you now outline the changes to the investment process that you announced today, and why is now the right time to do this?
It really comes down to catalysts and concentration. So MIGO's always had an approach of trying to identify catalysts that will narrow discounts to NAV. We're taking that a stage further by trying to create our own catalysts for engagement with boards and managers that will narrow discounts to NAV. And concentration, if we're right, we want that to pay off in terms of NAV returns. And it also dovetails quite nicely into the catalyst, the activism side of things. So fewer holdings means more bandwidth to devote to engagement with boards.
We think that the trust landscape is pretty perfect for what we're trying to do. We've seen the investment trust discounts are at historically wide levels. The last time we saw discounts this wide was during the financial crash in 2008. And the real difference here from then is that the discounts haven't snapped back. We are still seeing, really wide discounts pretty much across the piece. And so we think that an increase in activism and engagement is the best way of unlocking value and unlocking returns in the sector.
Why have you decided to cut the fee and introduce a performance fee? And could you possibly run us through some of the other changes announced today?
It's all about alignment of interest. We only want to do well ourselves when our shareholders do well. And really every aspect of the new fee structure has been crafted with that idea in mind. We've almost halved the base fee. We've introduced a performance fee at a hurdle of SONIA plus 300 bips. And we're going to reinvest a quarter of any performance fees earned in buying MIGO shares in the market.
So we're also introducing a capital redemption policy. And as Tom said, what we're looking for is alignment with shareholders. What we're not looking to do is to just asset gather and try and make the vehicle as big as possible. What we're focusing on is returns. So we think that capping the fund or capping the trust at 150 million, excess money above that will be returned to shareholders at directors' discretion. But we think it makes sure that MIGO stays nimble. It makes sure that MIGO can invest in what it wants to invest in all the way across the market cap spectrum within investment trusts and produce the best returns for shareholders.
There's been a lot of attention on activism in the last couple of years. Why do you think this is, and why do you think this is going to be a successful strategy for you?
As you say, we've seen a lot more activism within the investment trust sector. We've seen a lot more headlines. We've seen a lot more players come in and do some more activism. And this is really a product of the discounts that we've seen across closed-ended funds and the value that is there. What we have at AVI is that we've actually been doing this for decades. So activism and engagement has always been sort of front and center of the investment process at AVI. And I think that's very exciting for MIGO and the trust. And in terms of the opportunity set, there is a huge amount of trust trading on wide discounts. So we have, we can have many players investing and doing activism and doing engagement throughout the trust world without anyone treading on anyone's toes.
I think the key point is that there's no one-size-fits-all approach. So AVI, we're activist in Japan and in closed-end funds. But even within the closed-end fund market, there's very different approaches to take depending on the situation itself. The unifying theme, however, is we'd much rather get things done in private if possible.
And is this an evolution or a step change in the strategy?
So when MIGO was launched in 2004, it was more of a generalist fund of funds. And then the mandate really evolved post-2008 to be focusing more on those discount opportunities as the landscape changed. Again, the landscape has changed now over the last couple of years. And so we see this new iteration as just, a continuation of the evolution that MIGO's already gone through over the last 20 years. We're still continuing to find those discount opportunities, so the integral investment process won't have changed, but now we're just using activism, which has always been, a tool in the toolkit, but bringing it out and making it front and center of our investment process.
And we have found in the 18 months that MIGO has been under the wings of AVI, if you like, that we have been collaborating more and more on engagement opportunities within our respective investee companies. The ability for MIGO to draw on a larger research team as well has been very helpful.
Tom, Charlotte, thank you very much for joining us. For further information about MIGO Opportunities Trust, please visit www.migoplc.co.uk. And now we have a short message from Nick Greenwood. Thank you.
Well, it's nearly time to hang up my investment trust anorak and step back from the day-to-day management of MIGO Opportunities. I'd like to sound appreciation to those that helped along the way, notably Daniel Lockyer in the early days, and Charlotte Cuthbertson, who joined in 2017 and has since then been my long-term heir apparent. I've really enjoyed travelling the length and breadth of the country to update an incredibly supportive shareholder base. Literally have travelled from Aberdeen to Mousehole in Cornwall. More recently, it's been tough going. As all of you will know, it's been a hostile environment for the investment trusts. I mean, cost disclosure, consolidation of the wealth management industry, chronic oversupply, just to name three, have led to very, very wide discounts. And this is what provides an opportunity to take an activist approach. And I pass the baton across to Tom and Charlotte, and hopefully it'll be a profitable experience for all of us.